Young boys, kamikaze or the control level. Yahoo's a Javis.
Of our dream, Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Your problem is my problem, and my joy is your joy. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Make we join our hearts to build a nation of our dream. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Yeah. Your problem is my problem, and my joy is your joy. Citizen FM, Citizen FM. Shiki.
Thank you for staying tuned. It's Insights on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrenece Umoette. The time is 9 minutes past 10 in the city of Abuja. Welcome to Insights. Declaration on the elimination of violence against women issued by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993 defines violence against women as an act of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or psychological harm or suffering to women, including threats of such acts, coercion, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or in private sector. The International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women will mark the launch of the Unite campaign. That's from November 25th to December 10th. This is an initiative of 16 days of activism, concluding on the day that commemorates the International Human Rights Day, which is December 10th. This campaign, led by the United Nations Secretary General and the UN Women since 2008, aims to prevent and eliminate violence against women and girls around the world, calling for global action to increase awareness, promote advocacy, and create opportunities for discussions on challenges and solutions. This year's campaign, Unite Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls, will aim to mobilize all society to become activists for the prevention of violence against women, to stand in solidarity with women's rights activists, and to support feminism movements around the world to resist the rollback on women's rights and calling for a world free from violence. That's the focus of Insight today. Although the day actually is tomorrow, Friday, the 25th of November, but Insight, we don't go on air tomorrow, so we decided to do a preview of what the day is likely to be on Insight today. And I have very formidable women in the studio with very formidable CV, profile, or resume, if you may, who have done virtually nothing else in their life but devote their lives to the activism of women, empowerment, girl child, and a lot of other grassroots things. The first is Honorable Abiodun Eshet. She is a grassroots politician. She is an activist. She's also the 2021 Mandela Washington Fellow. She is a gender advocate, public health consultant, and a researcher. She is a community leader with years of experience in project management, community development, and leadership. She's also involved in identifying development gaps in society and ways of bridging the gap. Welcome to Insight, Honorable Abiodun Shed.
Thank you.
And I also have another activist, so Honorable Zainab Buba Galadima. She is a youth activist and a grassroots politician, an advocate for girl-child education, and champion for women empowerment. She's also an ambassador for the Hush Not Speak Out campaign against domestic and sexual violence. She once worked as a technical assistant under the Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team in the office of the Vice President. Currently, she's with the Senate President of Nigeria. Welcome to Insight, Zainab.
Thank you for having me.
So, as we can see, it's a formidable team, and it's a topic that we really, really need to be dispassionate about. And I'm sure my guests will do nothing but talk about that. And when the time is ripe in the hour mark, we will throw the lines open, and you can be part of the program. But for now, you can be part of this show by joining us live online on our live stream on YouTube. You can just type in Citizen FM 93.7 Insight, and you will be part of the show. So that's the focus of Insight for today. And straight off we go. Let me start with you, Honorable Abiodun Shed. After so many years of activism, after so many years of information, spreading the knowledge and everything, why are we still grappling with this menace of violence against women over the years?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me give a little background about the life of women globally. The World Economic Forum, the last report, predicted that it's going to take another 100 years for us to have a gender equality in this world.
100 years?
Yeah, so meaning my great-grandchildren are still going to be treated the way I was treated. That's what it means. Meaning our day-to-day activities are still marginalizing or widening the gender equality gap. You still ask your boy child to wash the car, and you still ask your girl, to stay in the kitchen. There are still so many inequalities within our society. Research has given us that 1 in every 3 women experience violence during their lifetime, and that also 1 in every 5 women in 2021, nearly between the ages of 20 to 21, were married before the age of 18. So you still have all these statistics going on, despite the fact that you have the countries with policies and law, but the policies and law are not being implemented or monitored the way they are supposed to. And that's why we're still in this position. The Women Feminist Forum, the civil society organization, presented a bill, gender equality bill, since the Ninth Assembly was rejected. Now we brought it over. These are the bills that addresses issues that women are facing. We're talking about, transferring ownership to your husband. We're talking about, widows' right issues. We're talking about, right to political life. We addressed so many things in this gender and equal opportunity bill, but it was rejected in the Ninth Assembly. Now we've introduced it back in the 10th Assembly, and we're still having issues, passing that bill. It took Nigeria 15 years to pass Violence Against Person Prohibition Act, which was passed 2015. It took us 15 years as activists to really pass that bill. So, when you have you have 90% of people in National Assembly are men, and they don't see things that has to do with women. They see gender as just a women issue, when gender really addresses things that affect both sexes. And we're not, making progress in that regard. That's why we're in this position. Structurally, religiously, culturally, everything is still limiting women. And that's why we're here.
All right. Oh, okay. Zainab, let me come to you. A lot of people seem to have an idea of what it means when they talk about violence against women. But you have been on the street, so to speak. You have been involved in some of these campaigns. How severe is this menace
Good morning. The violence against women or children or persons really is very, very common. It's not just within the lower class or middle class, it's also in the, upper class as well. So, but people are not speaking out. But now, because of awareness and stuff, a lot of people are coming out. But still, we do not have enough people to come out and say, okay, this is what I'm going through. And this violence or however you might, this abuse, it doesn't come in just, physical or sexual. There's emotional, there's financial, there's a lot more things. So the best thing to do, we as a response team in the Office of the Vice President, we worked on creating response centers, on helping victims to address these issues, to get over these issues by reporting the issue, seeing it through the courts, and also maybe counseling them. But what we should do, that is why we created this NGO called Hush Not Speak Out, because we in the office, our mandate was just to create response centers. So we have to engage people as a society, as civil activists and whatnot, to be able to prevent these issues, and also work on the government, to pass legislation to ensure that we put a system in place that punishes these actions. Because if there are consequences for actions, then you reduce the rate at which they are, done by people. So it's very severe, to be honest. You find that 2 in 5 women are being abused. A few men are being abused, but men too are being abused, and children as well. Children are very, very exposed, especially in schools, especially in homes, where, there are broken homes, where there are stepmothers, and stuff like that. So a lot of things happen like that. And it's very, very saddening that some of them, when they're being reported, they're being, sabotaged, or compromised. The people in charge of these affairs are being compromised because they have money, or because these people are in high places and stuff like that. And also, it's not this gender equality or gender opportunity bill. A lot of men wouldn't want to pass it because they feel like once you give the woman the right, you can't be able to control her. But that's not so. When you give that person an opportunity to, be who they can be, it helps you as well, because it's less liability for you. And that's what we need to, as women, and as also, there are also men who projected these ideas, who we call the he for she. We need more of them. We need to lobby. We need to, talk to people and make them understand that this is equally important, because they can do it to other people's children, but they do not want it to be done to their child. So they need to understand that what goes around comes back around. So we need to address these issues as a society. If not, it will go out of hand. But I think we're getting somewhere with the awareness, with the education. Just like she said, a lot of people were married before the age of 18, but now, because of education, people are exposed, to a bit of education. We're transforming, we're moving forward with globalization and all. So a lot of people are not doing that as such, but in villages, in more remote areas, you find out that they still practice those things. And also, culture doesn't help matters as well, so we need to see into these issues.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrenece Umoette, and my guests are Honorable Abiodun Eshet, who is a grassroots politician and activist, and also Honorable Zainab Buba Galadima, a youth activist and also a grassroots politician. And what are we talking about? We are previewing this year's UN Day on activism to end violence against women and girls, and so many other issues around. So you can be part of this program. Before we throw the phone lines open, join us on our live stream on YouTube. Type in Citizen FM 93.7, and you will be part of the show. In the next 10 minutes or thereabout, we will throw the lines open, and you can also send us messages or make some phone calls. Meanwhile, before then, we still need to probe some issues, and Honorable Abiodun Eshet is in the studio, and Honorable Zainab Buba Galadima. Honorable Eshet, let's come to you. One issue that I've also found out in the course of my research for this topic has been the culture of silence. Over the years, as someone who's really been on the field, how has that affected the advocacy?
Thank you very much. So, the culture of silence is one big issue that, that we're trying to deal with as activism, to sensitize people and create more awareness. So let me cite the example of the case of Osinachi, the gospel musician that died because of, issues that are related to GBV. She was experiencing violence for years. So no, don't let my pastor know. Don't let, people close to me know. Don't let these people know. Because of, that in that culture, say, no, don't speak out. You're a woman. No, it's a family matter. You don't have to talk about it. And we just concluded a community scorecard on community response to sexual and gender-based violence. And we divided the communities into different groups. The younger women and the older women really had issues with culture of silence. Because, the society has framed you that you are a woman, you cannot speak. When, religion will say, no, she's the weaker sex. It's the head of the house. So you imbibe or tolerate any harm that you're going through. And when you go to the religious leader or the cultural leader, it's the same thing. They put you back in that society, your gender role, that's perception about who you are supposed to be, and how do you want them to speak up in that kind of environment. That's why in anything we are doing as activists, we involve the religious leaders, we involve the cultural leaders. Our organization have trained over 150 Akimi and village heads in FCT for them to understand Violence Against Person Prohibition Act, for them to understand, because it's the only act that we know it has been passed in about 25 states, and FCT is one of the states. So the act has a lot about 25 forms of violence that we stand against, and everything is being taught to the traditional rulers. And we also taught them about restorative justice system, how they can manage issues. And we also enlighten them about issues about sexual and gender-based violence, so that they know the role it plays, how it's implicating and marginalizing women in the society, and how it's damaging our community. Because any child, research has shown that any child that's being raised in a house that has a lot of violence every day will end up to become like what he has seen over the years. Even despite the fact that the child may restrict you. You see a lot of little children say, no, daddy, don't beat mommy, or mommy, don't do this, daddy, don't do this, and they end up growing up to be the same monster that they have seen in their house, because that's the implication and the impact, the resultant effect of gender-based violence. So it happens in our community. Women are really being marginalized. From the first day a girl child is born, she's being marginalized. They will say, okay, what's the sex of the child? They say it's a girl. But when it was, what's the sex of the other one? They say it's a bouncing baby boy. I never know that the babies do bounce once they are delivered. They said it's a bouncing baby, but from that day, a girl child is being marginalized. That is how she's been trained. 60% of out-of-school children are girls. Our girls are not being go to school because some of our families, our leaders feel that it's not necessary for you to send a girl child to school, because at the later on she's going to get married to another person and change the name, her last name, to another person. So what's the need of investing in girl child? But people have now been saying that it's important for you to invest in a girl child, because it can provide, it can help you, protect you, and give you everything you want, even in a male child. So educating people, members of society, is very important. When I wanted to contest for politics, they asked me in the political space, have you gotten permission from your husband? So everything keeps bringing you back to that norm or the situation that everybody, the culture, say, okay, this is where you're supposed to be. And when the religious society is promoting it, the cultural leader is promoting it, how do you want women to be liberated? So our awareness is centered about, emancipative form of learning, teaching women how to change, the social norm, bringing about social change in wherever sphere that they have, letting them know about their human rights. In 1995, at the Beijing Platform for Action in Beijing, Hillary Clinton made a statement that women's rights are women's rights, because largely people in the society don't treat women as human beings. And in 1995, she made that statement. And this is 2022. The typical nature of the way women are being regarded, we are being regarded as if we are not human beings. We started FGM. FGM was started because they want to tame women sexually. They don't want women to enjoy any sexual pleasure so that they don't go out. But now you have cut the part of her body that she should enjoy sexual pleasure, and she feels, oh, my husband is not satisfying me, let me go out. So the reason why you started that was even the end of, is the reason why women are not going out. We are talking about widow's right. I was a young widow, went back to my husband's community. I was attacked, harassed by other elderly women in the society because a woman that lost his husband, you are the one responsible to lose him. But who says that? Chimamanda said, if cultures are made by people, people can also change the culture. If women are being violated, we have widows. Women are being asked to barb their head, drink the water that they used to wash the cup because you are just a woman. So men cannot die naturally. Is that what the society is telling us? Does that mean women are not human beings because we are just women? Because we are supposed to satisfy a man's needs? They say, women belongs to, one room. You are supposed to be in the kitchen. You are supposed to be cooking. You are supposed to take care of every other person. What about the men? You go into the private sector, women are not collecting equal pay when you have the same skills that the men has. So we have a lot of policies that Nigeria have signed into. We have CEDAW Convention. We have the Blending Platform for Action. We have African Chartered. And we have now the GOBB. Everything has been incorporated into it. And we are still not, passing this bill because you felt, oh no, when you empower women, they will take over the streets. On what basis? So we're just appealing to members of the perpetual to once treat women as human beings. Because, it happens from there. Whatever you perceive from the society, the way you treat a woman in society. Have you seen a woman being beaten? A widow being beaten by men and people are doing the video? A woman is being raped, people are doing the video, putting it on social media because that's the way they value women. So, it has led to that culture of silence, that people are not coming and you say, if I to talk now, who will respond? They will say, no, go back to this. They say, no, when you even enter the church, they said they don't even respect diversity. People are now stuck, women are now stuck to even in an abusive marriage because when you go out and say, no, I'm a divorcee, I'm a woman, you're not being respected because of that status that you have.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Zainab, let me come to you. You are currently working with the Senate president. Now, we've had conventions, just like Abiodun said, different ones, agreements and everything. Now, in terms of laws, do we have enough laws in Nigeria to take care of this issue? And even, are laws enough? Is it a matter of legislation that we are talking about here?
Well, partly, and some part of it has to do with us as well, as people. For example, we mentioned culture, religion, and laws that are limiting women. I'm a Muslim, and Islam has given women so much right, more than any other religion I know. Because they have the right to inheritance, they have the right to work, they have the right to do everything, they have the right to do business, they have the right to do anything, and there is nowhere in the book where it says that you can lift your hand and beat a woman. And if you do that, there are consequences for that. So Islam promotes peace, and I think because culture has overtaken religion, so a lot of people use that culture as part of religion, especially in the African continent. So they use it to, marginalize people, women, and whatnot. So in a home, for example, you give birth to a child, and then always the male child always gets the preference, like the superior preference, because he's always sitting down or playing ball outside, and the girl is always with her mother in the kitchen. Engage your children, make sure that they are all equal, because Islam says that the woman, it's complementary to the man. There is nowhere where it says, yes, a man should take care of a woman in terms of, yes, he's the husband, he's the head, but she also has rights over him as well as he has rights over them. So we need to educate ourselves, educate our children, and also be practical. Children do not listen. They act. They watch. They watch and they act, from our actions. So yes, if you come from an abusive marriage, there is every tendency that you will, find yourself in that situation. And why the legislation or the laws are not passed properly, or regularly, or that affects women, is because we do not even have enough women, in the legislative. It's not even 90% of men. It is 99.9% of men that, dominate the political space. And women feel like, okay, why should I join politics? Because I feel it is not a sane environment for a woman to, but you have to break the glass ceiling. You have to be courageous enough to be able to come out and, vie. If we, together we're stronger. If women come together, and I think we have a lot of issues, when it comes to women, unity and stuff like that. So as women, we need to come together. We need to rise up. We need to say, okay, look, this affects us. Nobody will do it for us but us. And if you come together, that is when the men take you serious and support you. So we need that. I contested for a councillor and I won my elections in 2013. But yes, they started with the woman thing, but I didn't take it because I had a very strong support system from my family. And I come from a Muslim family, but a liberal family which supports women education. I have like 7 degrees, do you understand what I mean? So I have been empowered. And somebody that is empowered with knowledge or whatever, or being supported, it is hard to suppress them. So there is need for us to also, promote this awareness for, inclusion, education, and all these things. If not, then we will always be behind. And in the political space, obviously, there are threats. Even men, they threaten them, but women, they feel like, okay, yes, we're not the weaker link. We're actually the strongest, the strongest gender, because we go through more than what they go through, and we handle it well. And so you have to be firm, you have to be resilient, and you have to have that, this is where I'm going, no matter the obstacles. Life is full of obstacles. And if you say, okay, this is what nobody is going to hand it to you over. Nobody is going to do that. You have to stand up and do it. And I think we do not have enough hands to push this thing. So once we do, then that is when the men will support us. But if not, no. We all need each other. That's the honest truth. They need us to get there. If they need us to get there, why shouldn't we need ourselves to get there? So these are questions, important questions we need to ask ourselves, and I think we should get somewhere.
All right. If you're just joining us, this is Insights on Citizen FM 93.7, and we've been discussing how to end violence against women. My guests have been Zainab Buba Galadima. She is an activist and a grassroots politician. And also we have in the studio Honorable Abiodun Eshet, another politician and a grassroots activist, a gender activist, and they've been trying to give different perspective to the issue we are talking about. Insight will take a break now. When we return, we will throw the lines open, and you can call in and ask questions or send in suggestions or even send in WhatsApp messages and let us know. But before we take a break, there are a few facts I picked up doing my research for this program, and it says 45% of women reported that they or a woman they know has experienced a form of violence. 7 in 10 women say they think that verbal or physical abuse by a partner has become more common. Then 6 in 10 women felt that sexual harassment in public spaces has worsened. These are scary facts that we really need to think about. But don't go away. Insight will return in a moment. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. It's 10:35, so the lines are officially open now. You can call us on 0903 2229 797. That's 0903 2229 797. Or you can call us on 0818 2220205. You can also call us on 0808 2222037. Any of these numbers, you can call us. You can also send us a WhatsApp message and just let us know where you're writing in from. And don't forget, you can also be part of the program by joining us on our live stream on YouTube. Type in Insight on Citizen FM and you will be part of the show. Don't forget, my guests have been Honorable Abiodun Eshiet, a politician and an activist. She's also involved in identifying development gaps in society and ways of bridging gaps. She's also a 2021 Mandela Washington Fellow. And also we have in the studio Honorable Zainab Boba Galadima. She's an advocate for girl child education, a champion for women empowerment, and she currently works in the office of the Senate President. She's also an ambassador for the USH Not Speak Out campaign against domestic and sexual violence. So the lines are open. You can call in now and let's have your perspective on any of the issues raised by the guests. Don't forget, we are looking at prevention of violence against women in the world, not just in Nigeria. Honorable Eshiet, let's look at another issue. When you were talking, you insinuated some things, and I also stumbled on something. It says some people believe we live in a world where patriarchy dominates, and this may well be embedded in our psyche as individuals. How do we tackle this? Because in terms of advocacy and everything, with the mindset of that situation, how do we resolve this?
Okay, thank you very much. So according to African World Development Forum, the organization predicted that for you to have any change in narrative about issues that have to do with women, then you have to deal with it in 4 quadrants that has the informal sectors and the formal sectors. The formal says the legal part of it, and the other one says sensitization and creating awareness. Those are the informal side of it. So it's that before anything can happen, the legal part and also the other part have to work together holistically to address issues that face women, because both parts limit women's potential. So we can't do much if we don't have legal instrument to back up our awareness campaigns that we'll be doing. And yes, we're in a patriarchy society because almost every space of our life, be economical, political, government space, everything are being controlled by men. So, the society tends to change, the way we live or how we live our lives based on what a man is. If you even want to get a job, they start asking you questions based on the fact that it's a man even developing the questions. Because the questions like, okay, are you married? How many number of children do you have? So if, for instance, I'm applying for that kind of job and I tell them I have 3 children, I'm already been, shortchanged by that. It's already limiting my chances of even getting that kind of job. So everything we do in the society is patriarchy. And, we've said it about the total number of women that are even in the parliament. And we're not doing well in Nigeria. And with the statistics of number of women now that are now candidates of the 2 major political parties, we are not going to have 10% women's inclusion in the next administration. Unless the president-elect appoint enough women, and we have seen manifesto of different president-elect even assuring us that they're going to have 35% of women appointed to different positions. That helps us to really bridge the gap in a whole lot of things. When in the society is controlled by men, the political space, the governance is controlled by men. Everything you do is controlled by men. That's the power of patriarchy, and we are being sensitized to say, okay, we need an equal space. Now we are moving from gender equality to intersectionality. Helping me because you understand that, yes, I've been vulnerable, I need these changes. Helping me based on that, not helping me because of who I am. Helping me, it applies to people living with disability as well. Help them. Why not create a crane? A pathway for them to be able to access a building. Help me based on that. So we're moving to intersectionality so that everybody understands that it's not about gender equality, because all the vulnerable groups are also being involved, are also being marginalized. Now, women who are disabled, that are also female politicians, are also struggling and asking for a percentage of inclusion in political space. We're also seeing them coming out to say, okay, we also want to run. We want our issues to be highlighted. So if we all have that mindset of intersectionality, then we'll have place ourselves in a better position to understand the challenges of each one of us, and also take that challenges to to really affect the whole policies that we're having. So it's about everybody having the mindset that we need to be in that space, and this has to be done politically, legal wise, and also raising awareness even in the society. How we socialize our children even matters. You say, okay, yes, a child is, from the word day one. Why can't your boy also come to the kitchen with you? Why can't your girl also be trained to also watch cars? So it's just about that, because, changing the gender role, because everything, all our cultures are being created by men. How many cultural leaders you see are women? So they create the society, they form the way we grow up. They form the way we are being socialized. And that's what we're referring to patriarchy. In the private sector, in the media too. How many media leaders, CEOs are women? They change the narrative about how you see a woman. So now, everybody has to be involved. Everybody has to be empowered politically, economically, so that we can leverage on one another and to build ourselves. No society can develop leaving half of its population behind. That's what it takes. That's what the Rwanda president said, because it's a great and E4C champion. And he said, Rwanda has been empowering women politically, in the policy-wise. Rwanda has the largest number of women in the parliament. Up to the local level, the number of chiefs are equal. You have women representatives at community levels, which has really transformed that society. And he has a target that by 2030, there won't be any issue called gender-based violence in his society in Rwanda. And he has taken critical steps to address that. So we need to also advocate for men to also see reasons to protect women, because it can be your child, it can be your wife in the future that's been violated or be abused. And we need to also, let people know that violence doesn't happen to only girls or women. Men are also being violated. And there is one culture of silence that is even prominent there. Oh, don't cry. You are a man. Don't speak out. I've seen cases where the woman was beating the husband. I've seen cases where, children went to, schools, to go and learn holy books, and they are being violated. These are young men. They are being violated by the religious leaders. And we're also still talking about policies and laws. We have enough policies that could change narratives. Nigeria is good in signing any treaty, international treaty, but coming back home to Nigeria to ratify it based on the parliamentary mandate, it has been difficult. And for all the states to also domesticate those policies, it's also difficult, because at the federal level, you pass a bill. It takes another 5 or 10 years for all the states to even acknowledge, okay, let's pass this bill. Taking, for instance, Child Rights Act. We had difficulty in even saying and agreeing that a child's age should be 18. We had issues with some states saying no, they don't want to accept the fact that a 18-year-old child, they don't want to accept that we should put 13-year-old as what 13-year-old child is still a child according to our constitution. But the Child Rights Act is being suffered in those states, and they are not passing that bill, despite the fact that it has been passed at the national level. So that's what we're talking about.
All right. Okay. The numbers are still open. You can call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205. Also, you can call us on 0808 2222037. Any of these numbers, and will be good to go. There is, there's a WhatsApp message here. Let's see. It says, thank you, Citizen FM, for bringing this very topical issue. We are really enjoying this. I must confess that I'm really learning a lot from this. Okay, but you did not tell us where you're sending this in, and you did not put your name. Please, if you send us a WhatsApp message, let's have your name and also where you sent the message from, so that we'll be able to track this issue. Once again, the numbers are 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or on 0808 2222037. We are talking about prevention of violence against women, and my guests in the studio, two formidable guests, Honorable Abiodun Umoette, politician and activist, and Honorable Zainab Buba Galadima, another politician and youth activist. Zainab, let's look at the issue of the economy. Now, although you said that violence against women is not restricted to the poor, you also have in the high place. But I also know that data available show that you have more poor people who are vulnerable to this. What is the place of poverty, the place of the economy in addressing this?
Addressing the issue of...
Yes, how do we, in tackling in the issue of violence against women, how do we factor in the issue of poverty, lack of money, lack of staying power, and even the economy? But before you answer that, there is a call here. Let's take this. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, I doesn't know that the line has been picked. Okay, maybe you can call back. So Zainab, you can go ahead.
Like I said, there is an upper class, and maybe because they're really, really enjoying the perks of being there, so they do not want to get out of it, so they endure whatever it's thrown at them. But trust me, maybe they're more abused than the poor people.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me, that one, yes, very possible. And like I said...
Okay, sorry, Zena, please, you just need to... Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Oops. I don't know. Seems to have some issues with this line. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, like I said, abuse is not just physical. It can be financial as well.
Okay.
And also it can be both, or, more than that, it can be psychological and all that thing. So when somebody is being abused, especially in the lower class, and most of it, you see that the women or the people being abused do not have any other thing. That person that abuses them feeds them or gives them the source of income they get. So they tend to stay because they do not know where to start or where to go. So they stay there most of the time. When we get reports that, okay, I'm being abused, but I don't want people to know and all these things, but they'll be like, please don't tell anybody. Now I will lose everything. This person is taking care of me. He takes care of everything I do, my children. If I leave, where do I go? So there is need for these women to be empowered. So a lot of NGOs empower local, women to be able to fend for themselves, at least provide for themselves, so that even if the man leaves, or even if you leave in a relationship, at least you'll be able to stand on your feet, But I think most of it is psychological, because, self-worth, self-esteem, your confidence and stuff, abuse affects all of that. Once you're being abused, you can hardly think straight. You think, oh, okay, maybe it's my fault. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe that. And once you do not have that self-worth, that is how you think. And once we change, it's about awareness, it's about a mindset reset, actually. And if we do not do that, then we have a lot of women fall as victims in that. And society okays that a man can do anything, and get away with it, And that is why, because there are no consequences for that actions. I just read this morning or last night that somebody beat up somebody's sister. And what they did was, the guy, I do not support violence, but it was really, I felt like, okay. So him and his friends, the older brother and his friends, they beat up the guy, and the guy is in the hospital. And I've seen cases like that. And from that day, the man never lifts a hand, because now he understands. Because if you really want to fight as a man, go find your peers. Because you feel like, okay, you can box the woman, and beat her because she has lesser strength than you, then that makes it okay. It doesn't make it okay. So I think it goes hand in hand. Once a woman is empowered, there is a less likelihood of her being abused than the woman that is not. But still, even the women that are empowered, they get abused, be it, psychologically, verbal abuse and all these things. But it all boils down to self-worth and self-esteem and your confidence and whatnot. Because there are some things you wouldn't take as a woman. If you know you're better than that, you will not take insults from anybody. Yeah. So.
All right. I think we seem to have some problem with the phone lines, but the other MTN line, it's okay. 0903 2229 797. You can call us on that, or you can also call us on 0818 222205. Any of these two numbers. We seem to have a problem with the other line, and it's just cutting off. So, well, it's still Insight, and we have barely 5 minutes to go. So I think we should, since we... Okay. Yeah, we can take. There seems to be a WhatsApp message. Yeah, okay, let's see what this is. Okay, it says John from Apo. Okay, violence is not specific to women alone. I was abused by a fellow man while I was growing up. He said he liked me and promised to get me anything I want. Oh, this is sad. That GD, I think, one of our, somebody just sent in that WhatsApp message. And I think, Honorable Abiodun, you said something like that earlier, that is not restricted to men. And this is someone who said, for someone like this, what would you advise him?
Yeah, you should really speak up and get help, because, abuse is not just only physical. It can be a lot of emotional and psychological abuse. He must have psychological trauma by now, and he needs to get more counseling and support. So I will encourage, the survivor to, because we call them survivor. Once you have experienced any form of abuse, we call you survivor, to come out and speak up, so that, you can also share, you could also be a good advocate to create more awareness on the danger men or boys are also facing in the hands of other similar sex.
Okay, because of time, we're winding down. In practical steps, step by step, how do we tackle this in our little way? Things that we can say, okay, short term, long term, but maybe we should just look at the short term.
Okay, the short term. Everybody have a responsibility to protect the right of one another. That's one thing that everybody can do. When you see any violation occurring in your environment, be it a man or a woman, speak up against it, because nobody has the right to violate another person, even if the person is wrong or has done anything wrong. So speak up. I wanted to address the issue about the economy as an issue.
If you can do that in 60 seconds.
Yeah, that address, because economic capacity, really, most of the abuses you see are from the people that are vulnerable, people in poverty. And now the system has even made it so difficult. You face an abuse, you want to go through prosecution process, and you are still asked to even pay money, go through that prosecution process. And a woman who is being abused doesn't want to come out because the man is the breadwinner of my family. And now we've seen a case whereby, women come back and frustrate the whole prosecution process and say, please, can you leave my husband? He's the only one that is, feeding for us. And, statistics have shown that, 60% of people in poverty are women, which makes them more vulnerable to a lot of things, and which makes them to even have that culture of silence and to even imbibe a lot of violence, because, I don't have empowered. Now, I didn't go to economic, they have economic advantage towards me. And the system, you can't expect anyone who is vulnerable or poor to go through any form of abuse, and again, in terms of prosecution, speaking out about issues that they are facing. So it's really primary. And for us, I want to even appeal to our members of legislators to look into our bills to help, address issues about violence against women. Gender bill addresses not only women's issue, it addresses issues that affect men and also women. Up to now, women cannot even bail out people because of your status. So there are a whole lot of things that is beneficial to the society that we are putting in bills. And we are appealing to politicians that are now going out to campaign also to have, that equal mindset, to have plans to empower women, have social responsibility that will address issues that women are facing, and also have a plan to even have a gender balanced government. For the first time, let's hold our politicians accountable to their manifesto or to their word. Not all of them have brought out their manifesto. Let's hold them accountable to that, and look at the aspect that they have promised women and let them fulfill it. Look into that manifesto and use that to vote in the next election. Thank you.
All right, Zainab, for your final words as we go.
Okay, adding to that, when you experience violence, always speak up, and also there are ways to avoid it. If you see people that have the tendency of being ticked off by a slightest provocation, please avoid them. And if you're in a relationship, an abusive relationship, and you feel like it can lead to violence, just cut it off and be going. You only live, you can only be abused, be a victim if you let yourself be. So, and once you get out of it, because when you're dead, there's no end of story. So I think it is very important for us to understand that we come first all the time, and you have some self-worth, and I think people should also look into themselves, add value to themselves, and they should be able to understand who they are and not let anybody put them down. Thank you.
Well, that's our package on this side today. Thank you so much, Honorable Abiodun Eshe, politician and activist, 2021 Mandela Fellow, Washington Fellow, and also a public health consultant. Public health consultant and researcher. Thank you so much for coming on this site.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be back again.
Yeah, and also Zena Bubwa Galadima. Thank you so much for making it. Even though we got in touch with you pretty late yesterday, but we really appreciate your intervention, and we are not surprised because of your pedigree. Yeah, and maybe that will be a story for another day that we'll bring it. But on behalf of men, on behalf of society, we really thank you for the work you put in for society. These are thankless jobs that you and a lot of activists are putting out there. A lot of people don't appreciate, but some of us in the media do, because we see the level at which you go to make some of these interventions. And trust me, history will be on a very good side of a lot of you at the end of the day. We really appreciate that. So that's our package on Insight today. The program returns on Monday with another edition. My name is Lawrenece Umoette. Have a beautiful day ahead.